Today's spotlight is on relationship counselor and ordained minister, Ciara Simonson. Welcome, welcome,
What's
welcome to
up?
the
What's up,
show.
Ciara? Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show, Ciara. How are you?
Welcome, Ciara.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in this gracious welcome. I'm glad to be here today.
Happy to have you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get to your extensive background in a bit, but let's start off with something a little fun. Can you tell our audience something interesting about you that we would not be able to Google about
Oh my gosh.
you?
Great question. And actually, I thought I would start off by sharing that most people don't know that I'm a homeschool mom, but I guess you can Google that about me because anything you post on social media can be Googled, right? So
That's
I guess
true.
we need to take it back pre-social media, that life. Um, not too much I want to disclose about that life, right? But I guess I can share which before I started my what I call my vocation as an ordained minister and as a relationship therapist. I used to be an events manager. I used to be an event planner. And so I
Ah,
worked in
Cool.
the advertising, marketing, communications industry. I worked with Uniworld, the Uniworld Group. And so, yeah, this is before social media was a thing. And I traveled
Wow.
and worked in the entertainment industry. Mhm.
all right. So,
That's
okay. So,
cool.
so you've been an ordained minister. You currently an ordained minister. And you do
Mhm.
imago relationship counseling. So, how long have you been doing that, and what led you down that path to this passion of yours?
Hmm.
So, my what led to my ordination was really a call to um, I would say a call that I believe, by God was not only to study to show myself approved, but a call to connect with others and really help my community. It was really this call to humanitarianism and really identifying the humanistic nature of our community. How can I help others become their best self? How can I
Mhm.
encourage? How can I inspire? So I looked at faith. And faith, I don't necessarily claim the religious aspect. And so I also have to just say that I went to divinity school, not Bible school, right? And so
Okay.
I look at religion in its totality of
Hmm.
how our faith practice can actually help to support one to be their best self.
Okay.
Um, so that's kind of where it began. But I love God. I love Jesus. I love sharing the goodness of God's grace, and that is what I like to share to help inspire others. That's what I know personally. So that's what I share. So that's the ordination track. What I learned and discovered in my work in the church was that there were a lot of people coming to church hurting
Mm,
en masse.
mm,
And just coming to receive a word that speaks to God's love was not really helping to heal the woundedness that one experienced when they attend the church service or worship experience. So I wanted to go a little deeper in my study to really tap into some of the woundedness that was experienced in the churches that I served.
okay.
So that's kind of where the work in pastoral counseling came in. It's been quite a journey, I would say, a journey of discovery and discovering my desire to help others. I've learned so much about myself
Mhm.
and have also grown to heal in the process, which is why I identify myself as the wounded healer.
I get the impression that a lot of like people who get into therapy and counseling are themselves wounded in some way and trying to make it make sense. Do you find that to be the case?
It's the constant search, right, for meaning. It's about meaning making. And so whether it's personal experiences, and most times it is personal, or observed experiences, extended family, friends, that has impact or shaped and formed our lives in such a way that there's a heart or desire to do something about it, to fix it, to make it better, to help.
All right,
Mhm.
before we get to the other questions, you're working on a doctorate. You're working on your doctorate right now, and you have an interesting, very interesting doctoral project. Can you quickly tell us more about that and what you're working on?
Yeah, so I'm currently a doctoral student, and I literally just finished my research proposal um, on the subject topic of perinatal bereavement and how African American couples endure perinatal bereavement. How are
What
couples
what is
impacted by the experience?
perinatal? What is perinatal? For our audience out there that may not
Perinatal.
have an idea what that means.
Mhm.
So we can look at it as early pregnancy and infant loss. So when you think about perinatal, that's a baby that's still in utero,
So we're
that's
talking.
still in the womb.
So if we put it in
Mhm.
other terms, we're talking about miscarriages, or are we talking strictly
Ectopic loss,
ectopic loss,
stillbirth, yeah,
stillbirth?
Okay.
stillbirth.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, anytime that there is a pregnancy loss, that's what I would classify as perinatal bereavement. So bereavement is the grief that's
Mhm.
associated with the loss. And this topic is a significant topic because the issue of infant mortality, or say pregnancy loss, remains a major health concern, particularly within the African American community. Um, African American couples, women, are twice as likely to experience infant mortality or pregnancy
Oh, I
loss,
didn't know that.
early
Hmm.
infant loss. Yeah. In fact, there was a recent study at the National Center for Health Statistics that just came out right before 2020 that actually shows that 2017, 18, and 19 what the data reports. And it shows that even though there has been a decrease, a decline in infant mortality as a whole,
Mhm.
African Americans are still twice as likely to experience loss in comparison to, say, white, Caucasian, or I'm going to say, and Hispanic women.
Oh,
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
all right.
Hmm.
Wow.
Let me try to get in another question here. I want to start with Robbie on this
Well, I'm curious with your counseling practice and the work that you do in the community, what sets Ciara Simonson apart from others in the same field?
Hmm. So, as a relationship therapist, I mean, how many people can you identify when you think about therapy as a relationship therapist?
one.
I
Not
am
many.
Mhm.
trained. I am actually trained in imago relationship therapy, which was is a modality, let's say a therapeutic modality that was designed specifically for couples. Most people who identify themselves as a couples therapist, or and that's what they would identify themselves as, a couples therapist,
Mhm.
usually take models that has been designed for individual therapy and try to apply it into, with two people. But whereas Imago was specifically designed through the lens of a relational paradigm. So it really looks at how two are connected and the
Mm,
space that's between the two, that's identified in the relationship. And so it's a really beautiful practice and study that has not only informed my love and joy as a therapist working with couples. I always say when I work with my individual clients, you come in here and you complain about your partner, you might as well just bring your partner in. Don't tell me this, tell your partner.
that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's, but the idea is we're born in relationship, we're wounded in relationship, we heal and grow in relationship. And so
Mm,
I identify my work as unique because of this specific training that has helped me to not only work with my clients, but it's also become a paradigm for how I see life. And this is also where my theology comes into play, because I do believe that God has created us to be relational beings, and that God is, in relationship with us, or wants to be in relationship with us.
Okay. All right, there's a couple comments online. So we're looking at Olivia says, "Woohoo! I'm going to homeschool my kids too," and she also says, "God." Jacqueline Robinson has a question. She says, "As a pastoral counselor, has your faith been in conflict with the scientific part of your discipline?"
Great question. So I would say that my faith has always been, if I had to make reference to a book that's titled Faith Seeking Understanding, uh, my training has been specifically looking at integrating my faith, spirituality with science, right? And how does it work? So how do I understand my spiritual practices and faith practices, and how does that integrate with what I understand about um, science, just psychology in and of itself? So it's always been about seeking to understand how the two are um, integrated and how the two intersect.
All right, Gianni.
My question is more seeking advice from your expertise. It's a relational question. What does a healthy relationship look like in your opinion? If you,
Ooh,
Hmm.
I know it's probably a mouthful, but
it's pretty broad, but it's a good question. Great question. What
It's
I'm
it's it's
curious
an
too.
excellent It's an excellent question. And I always tell my clients that the health of a relationship is not so much not getting into any ruptures, or not having um, moments of disconnect, but it's how well or how soon can you recover from it, right? So it's not about the rupture as much as it is about the repair. And so you can assess, evaluate the health of a relationship, that when, in let's say, when an argument or when a disagreement happens, how quickly can you repair that disconnect,
okay.
that argument, that tension that shows up. It's recognizing that when tension arises, that it is it's an opportunity for growth. Conflict, tension is an opportunity for growth. So when you can change your perspective and paradigm around how you see the tension within the relationship, and do the work to explore what's trying to happen here, what's trying to grow, what needs to be healed, right? What's going on? Then that really helps to that's a if I have to give a benchmark, the benchmark for assessing a healthy relationship. But when you get stuck in the
So you're
go
good.
ahead.
I was gonna say. So
Uh-huh.
I assume a lot of people come into to you, and they're angry, pissed. They're just. I mean, you're probably getting them at their worst. So how do you like take them from their worst to somewhere, what to somewhere at least reasonable, where they're having
Yeah.
conversations and talking?
I have to remind people, as a relationship therapist, my specialization is in conflict management. People are not happy when they come to see me.
I bet.
So it's a journey. It's a journey,
Wow.
and I'm continuously having to encourage my clients to trust the process. And this is trusting the process of developing a sense of consciousness,
Mhm.
conscious awareness. And when one has already set in their mind the vision, let's say, that they want, for the ideal relationship that they want, then you have everything within you. The couple already has everything within them to
Hmm.
fulfill that potential. It's just a matter of identifying specifically what is needed,
Yeah,
right? And what are you committed to?
yeah.
My husband and I, we've been married for 14 years now. And I would say the success of our marriage, with all the challenges that we've endured, it has not been a walk in the park, folks. But we have an annual agreement where we just kind of renew. Say, we're going to do this for another year. I guess it's working.
It's
Okay. You know
interesting.
what?
Okay. I
Right.
like that.
Yeah. but it's also just evaluating where are the areas that we need to stretch and what are we committed to, and because we're committed to making it work, having we, it works.
Okay.
That what you focus on, the energy that you put as part of your focus will grow,
Okay.
right? So that's the
Okay.
principle, universal principle.
Okay. Liz?
Mhm.
I'm curious, as someone who has been a bridesmaid 8 times, who has who has a lot of friends who started off, this is my life partner, and now they're going through divorce or separation or whatever. What do you find to be the number one conflict between couples when they
Mm,
come to see you?
Hmm.
great
Because
question.
Mm-hmm.
in my head, it's the same thing. It's the same thing across the board, but you may find it to be something different,
So you're
drastically
saying like,
different.
is it money? Is it cheating?
Is it
Is
money?
it
Is it infidelity? Is it, lying,
Communication.
bad communication? That,
or like
like, what?
would you say miscarriages or what was the
Yeah.
official term? What's the official term you called it again?
And perinatal loss.
Perinatal loss. Is it those
Yeah,
Mhm.
things?
we could just say early pregnancy or infant loss.
Infant loss.
We kind of group those together.
Okay.
So excellent question. I mean, just on the surface, you can say that um, money, sex,
Mhm.
children, infidelity, those are some of the major triggers that impact the relationship dynamic. Grief, loss,
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah, but you said on the
Um,
surface. I noticed that.
but I say that on the surface because there's a deeper work, right, that has to do with the internal working model for the individuals and how they come into the relationship. So if you remember what I said in the beginning about healthy relationships is developing a sense of conscious awareness. And so we enter into the relationship, first stage of the relationship, and the dopamine, the oxytocins of, oh, I found the one. Everything is just wonderful and it's great. And guess what? When the tension rises, everything that was great in the beginning just is not all lost. But what happens is, yeah, life happens. And some of the
Mhm.
stuff that has been suppressed, repressed, unconscious begins to get triggered or comes to the surface by the partner. And you've been trying to push that stuff away for so long. So now you see it, right? It's being reflected in your partner. And you're like, I don't know
Hmm.
what to do with it. You know what? I'm out. I
Hmm.
can't take this anymore. And so before um, going to do the work to develop a sense of, okay, well, what is this that's impacting me? What is triggering me to behave or react or respond in a certain way? You do what you've always done and check out, quit, right? Say, peace. I can't do this anymore. It's too much. It's too much to bear. And that's kind of how one had to survive. And that's really an adaptation for survival. So it's important to remember why you got married in the first place, and to
Hmm.
know that all that stuff
Mhm.
um, that you fell in love with in the beginning does not just go away because the stressors of life are now challenging you. It's to look at that and to ask the question, okay, what is it that I need to learn from this? What is it that's happening here that is calling me to stretch and grow in a new way? What is it that I'm being asked of or for? Or what's happening here? I mean, and then granted, there are some times if there's abuse,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
probably do need to just leave, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If there is some abuse, and then there are times where things are just what you call, what is it in divorce, irreconcilable differences.
Differences. Yeah. There are
Irreconcilable.
some things. Yeah.
Irreconcilable differences, right, where
They
people just
won't
make a
stop
decision,
cheating.
right?
They won't stop
Well,
cheating. They won't stop lying. All that stuff.
yeah,
Do
Once
you
I'm
think?
like,
they don't want to change.
Do
They're not committed to doing the work, right?
right.
And
right.
so there comes a point where you just have to say, enough's enough. But the call to stretch, the call to grow requires change.
I think Liz has
And
one more question. I'm sorry.
it's
Go ahead.
both. Mhm.
No, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Just one more question. So,
Well,
do you
wait,
think
Liz.
that?
Before you go, let me just get these little comments. I got one from Mike Winter. says cheating is a symptom of another problem usually. So many people that I know have so much self-work to do and bring that
Yeah.
brokenness into their relationship. And then
Yeah.
Lady Annie Burrill says, communication, listening. Been with my hubs for 28 years.
Wow.
Oh,
Hugs and
good for
kisses.
you.
Uh,
Good for
Nice.
you.
Jose says acceptance and non-attachment, open heart, mind. All right, final question.
Yeah. So,
Final question. So, did your clientele list increase during the pandemic?
Mm,
Did you find that you had more clients during the pandemic?
interesting. Yeah.
So there is a great demand for support during the pandemic. I would say I saw the demand, but I also saw a lot of people who went into survival mode from
Mm,
a financial standpoint and not
yes,
really
that's a
wanting
good
to pay for this. So that's one of the
right.
challenges with relationship
Right.
therapists is that some insurance companies don't cover, right? That
Mm,
so that's a whole other thing. But
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
luxury, right? Therapy is considered, a luxury. It's like going to the gym. Who wants to pay for the gym membership?
yeah,
I need to
because
go.
insurance doesn't pay for that most times. Doesn't pay for relationship therapy, from what I
but the weird
understand.
thing is, insurance or companies will pay for your gym membership before they pay for
Yes,
Yeah.
your
r-
That's
therapy.
true.
relationship
That's
For
therapy.
weird.
sure.
I
Hmm.
think the insurance companies now are paying for therapy, mental health therapy for yourself, but they won't do it for your relationship.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy.
Right. Right.
One more
Yeah.
comment. People, it looks like Rob B's on YouTube said, "Hurt people hurt people. You have to love yourself before you can truly love another." Nice message, Rob B. And then Mike Winter responded, "Hurt people do not have to hurt people. They need to address that hurt, acknowledge it, and learn some coping mechanisms." You agree,
And
Ciara?
remember, folks, I hurt harder. I hurt harder. So don't hurt me.
It's a warning.
Unfortunately, we are. Wait, you're saying you're hurt back harder? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
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 Oh,
So
retaliation.
you retaliate. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. All
I'm
right. That's a
holding
whole nother,
spicy, y'all.
that might be
I'm
another
holding
session with you, Ciara. We might have to
holding
come back to
spicy.
that one.
Seriously.
All right. That's all the time we
I'd
have
be
here.
happy to. This is a hot topic,
Yeah,
right?
it is. Especially
And
during the
it's a good
pandemic, for real.
and it's a good
Yeah.
segue into our main topic with
Which is
hurt people. So yeah,
Kanye and Pete
yeah.
Davidson. Okay. All right. So,
Mhm.
Ciara, this is all the time we have. Do you have any last words, some shout outs, or anything you'd like to tell our audience? And also, please let them know where they can find you.
Oh, absolutely. So I would encourage you to assess where you are in your relationship. How soon can you do that repair work, right? And reconcile the relationship to get to that place where you are living out or experiencing the relationship that you've always imagined. If you find yourself experiencing some tension, conflict, yes, reach out to a relationship therapist. I can be reached at the Imago Center DC, imagocenterdc.com. You can look it up. I'm not the only therapist there, but one of a few. I have a whole cadre of colleagues who are obviously trained in this model.
Mhm.
You can also check out the book, Getting the Love You Want. For the singles out there, it's Keeping the Love You Find, right? Because it's a whole thing. At the end of the day, relationship it really begins with you and
Mhm.
you being able to take some inventory, self assessment where you are, areas that you're seeking to heal, to grow, to stretch. And what's needed. I think that's it. And appreciate the ones
Mm.
that you are in relationship with. And for those who are single, learn how to appreciate yourselves. When you're able
Yeah.
to do it for you, you can do it with others.
Yeah.
So yes, you got to
Mm.
know love to show love, and
Yeah.
knowing love begins with how do you love
Of
yourself.
yourself. Yeah, we say that
Yeah.
all the time on the show. I know me. We repeat that because you gotta love yourself first. I just have
Yeah.
one more question. I mean, one more quick. If you can respond really quickly to this one, um, do you think relationships should end whenever they become physical, or you handle each case individually? Are there some situations where you say this abusive situation could work?
Yeah, I handle each case individually,
Have
and
you
it's a separate
seen
situation.
have you seen
I've
abusive
had
relationships
clients.
work?
Yeah, yes, I've actually had clients who have been physically abused and decided to stay. Of course, I'm looking like, what?
I'm sure.
But
Mhm,
but my work is
mhm.
not to judge one's decision.
Mhm.
Um,
Fair.
it's really to support and help one to identify what's best for them and give them the tools that they need so they can feel that they're operating or working from their best selves within that situation. So it's no judgment either way. Like, you know, if you choose to stay, then you choose to stay.
Okay.
So let's figure out how to make that work.
All right. Thank you so much, Ciara. Check the Imago
Thank
Center
you.
DC. Go ahead and Google that. We appreciate you so much for joining us. And we'll have you back again because we got to talk about this some more. We got to
Yes.
talk. We
Okay.
definitely have to talk about Lizzie and her hurting back. So we got to talk about that. Thank you.
Yes.
Self-defense.
Dive deep in
Self-defense.
that one.
All
Self-defense.
right. All right. Thank you again, Ciara. We'll talk to you soon. All right.